Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zoom into Wine. It's time for the show and your host, Ian Blackburn.
All right, good evening, everybody. Let's get started. Night 2 of Stars of Pinot Noir. Thank you guys for joining us. I think there's some links coming into the chat box. Make sure you get involved in the chat box early. Greg Gura, you're here tonight. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Ian? Sorry I missed last night, but I told you I went to go see Garth.
You're not sorry. You were seeing Garth Brooks last night in Vegas. Come on, that'd be fun.
It was fun. It was
Greg, how was it?
Sold out. 65,000 people. It was fun.
Wow. How cool.
Greg,
Yeah.
how was Foo Fighters at Madison Square Garden with Dave Chappelle?
That was awesome. I mean, I'm more of a Foo Fighters. My girlfriend's more of a Garth fan, but it was amazing to be there.
I bet. Wow.
Yeah, so
All right.
so it was good. So I'm sorry I missed last night, but I'm here tonight.
Yeah.
I saw we got a couple bids last night. Denise Westergaard bid on some things.
Cool. There's quite a bit, and
So I'll be putting links on throughout the night in the chat box, linking all the wineries to their donations. Give it a look. We've got 60 plus items there, all supporting Children's Hospital.
cool. Bob English, you got your group and all your little jars aligned there, looking very strack. Appreciate it. Like that.
Hey, thanks so much. We're trying to set up on the TV in the meantime, but we're all excited to be here for my dad, Bob's birthday.
Ah, all right. Happy birthday, Bob.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. This is a lot of fun to put on. My team works really hard. Alex, if you're on the Zoom, say hi.
Hi there.
Hi, Alex. Alex does all the work behind the scenes. She doesn't get enough credit. This is a lot of Alex on this event. So thank you for all your work. Now get out of here and go have some fun.
Sounds good. Enjoy, guys.
All right. Thanks so much. Let's begin with, we're going to do 6 wines tonight. We're going to be, well, first of all, let me show you, make sure that you got the email. If you got the email, right here, you can click this open and there's a brochure that perhaps you have seen. The brochure will tell you a little bit about the wineries and stuff like that. I will also say that the wine prices are about to go down a little bit further. So those of you that are on the Zoom tonight, hold off until right at 8 o'clock. You'll probably get the email. And when you click into that email, you'll see some slightly lower prices tonight. All right, let's begin. I'm going to open up the slideshow. And here's our 6 wineries tonight. We're going from Santa Barbara to Oregon to Sonoma, back down to Santa Barbara to Russian River Valley, and then finishing up at Sonoma Coast. This is a really exciting lineup, gang. We've got 4 of these events. None is better than the other, but I'm really excited because a lot of these brands I'm going to learn even more about tonight. Our first time on the Zoom, the Chacrion. This is a very cool brand up in Santa Barbara, and I'm going to introduce you to the owner here, who is in Paris. And so I Zoomed with him live, but he bought the old Verna's Vineyard. I don't want to repeat anything that we talk about in the video, so I'll just go right into the video, and here we go. Drake Whitcraft is the winemaker, Whitcraft Wines, and he's got a really cool team. All right, so we are on a roll here with Stars of Pinot, and I am very proud to introduce you to Babak Shakorian. Did I get it right this time, Babak?
You got it, Ian.
Shakorian. Okay.
You got it.
All right. So Babak is in the entertainment world and has now purchased a really important vineyard in Santa Barbara and is kind of moving into the vineyard part of his life. This is a incredible vineyard that you bought, Babak. This is the vineyard that was known as Verna's under the Melville label.
That's right.
That's
right.
That's impressive, man. You told me it's about 100 acres with about 50 acres planted.
Correct. That's right. Yeah, it was really kind of I think just something that the stars aligned, and it just kind of fell into our hands because I was looking for a place to live in the area, and for just a small piece to do a vineyard on, and Verna's kind of fell out of escrow one day when we were searching, and we just kind of called quick to see what we can do and make meet Mr. Melville, and everything just kind of fell into place.
So I want to take us into a PowerPoint and show everybody this cool project because I tasted the wine about a year ago. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I understand the style, and I know that you're selling most of your fruit that you grow to make that make sense. 50 acres of fruit would be a pretty significant amount of wine. That'd be like, that'd be a lot of wine. So you're getting started under the Chacrion label, and we've got the wine currently says Santa Barbara because Los Alamos that is not an AVA yet.
Correct.
When that happens, you're going to be in really good shape.
I hope so. That's really a difficult bridge to cross, but if we get enough people to sign on and show enough people on board that it has a separate microclimate, then it'll open some doors for sure.
Well, the proof is in the pudding. The Verna's wines were really, really awesome, and I'm sure Melville had some hard choices to make, but you bought a crown jewel in the area, and there's a lot of good wineries in Los Alamos now. It's a great destination for anyone that's going to Santa Barbara. And you're growing Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Syrah on your ranch?
Correct. Yes, we mainly those three varietals, and then of late we've planted some Grenache, which seems to grow really well, and Gamay, which seems to grow really well. So we've kind of expanded a bit in the plantings, just to give us a little bit more flexibility and more choices for people to come to the tasting room, and also for blending.
So as you're going up the 101, you're cruising through, you pass Buellton, and there's Los Alamos. You're going to drive right through it on your way to Santa Maria.
Correct.
And then you got Santa Rita Hills, and you've got Santa Ynez, Los Olivos over here, Santa Maria. Los Alamos, when it gets that AVA status, I think it's going to be a treasure, and so good on you for seeing that opportunity. And you also put a winemaking facility on your property?
Yeah, we did. We built the winery about a year into moving into the vineyard. We built the winery, we built the crush pad, and we do everything on site now. Again, it's probably for maximum about 1,000 cases. We do about 500-600 cases, but for now we do everything on estate, which is really, really convenient and makes things really nice and clean, and just keep it all on the same property. It's really a good deal for everybody.
And you got a cool little dream team of people you're working with. Drake Whitcraft, whose father started the Whitcraft brand and passed on the baton to Drake, and Drake's style is very much like his father's, and that's why the wine is, in addition to having kind of that Melville origin and style, and then you give it to Drake and he puts this really nice texture and touch to it. I think the wine is delicious and unique, and yet really fits the personality that I enjoy and I look for. And when we talk about wines from of a place, it's very Santa Barbara, and I believe there's quite a bit of stem inclusion in this particular wine as well.
That's right. Yes, he does full stem inclusion,
which can delay the wine for a while. It's an expensive decision for you to make to include stem, because those wines that are just all berry, they come to market pretty quickly and they come around pretty quickly. But when you start using stem, you can really, postpone that that pleasure spot for 5 to 10 years. And this is a 2016 wine that we're showing, and I think it's in a really amazing spot right now. You got that sweetness, the stemminess, the tea-like aromas, those aromatics, spice rack aromatics. A lot of restraint here too, because it's not an overripe expression. Some wines like more fruit orientation. This is definitely playing through the hands of Santa Barbara very well. And I think you've got a real jewel. And so when we put the list of dishes together, we're not always looking for the 24 best known Pinot Noirs. I like to create a sense of discovery here. I want people to see small projects like what you have, 500 cases from an up and coming AVA that everyone needs to put on the map. Everyone's going to need potentially to support you and the other producers, because there's not a lot of producers in Los Alamos, and it's going to take a lot of work to become an AVA for you guys. But we can all help and get a petition out to our group, and we'll find it away.
Thank you.
That is phenomenal. We really appreciate meeting you, and we will represent you well here. I hope you enjoy Paris. I'm very jealous that you're in Paris right now. But let's go and taste this wine. All right. Let's taste the wine. He literally, his cell phone died right at the end of my interview, so I'm glad we finished that. But he was sitting at a Paris cafe. That's what all that noise was. But I would be doing the same thing if I could do that. Let's get some wine in the glass and see what you guys think about the Chateaubriand. I got to say it like that to get all the little pronunciation, the Persian I-A-N at the end punctuated. And as you smell this wine, can you see that there's more than just fruit going on? There's that stem, that it's kind of borderline herbal. It adds a lot of complexity. It's a style that I really appreciate, but it's not for everybody. It's going to be a little divisive, but if you like this style, you love this style, and there's quite a few producers. Last night we were talking about stem inclusion. This is 100% stem inclusion. Any comments? John, did we get you all the wines? Good to see you, by the way. Cool. You
all good here. Thank you.
Cool, buddy. Josh, should we send you all the wines too? Josh Peoples?
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm under a lease. It's, yes, all the wines are here, and wonderful to have them. So we also make Santa Rita Hills Pinot, so it's fun to see what new neighbors are doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
David, hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us tonight. We've got 6 producers that are going to get on. David K., how are you?
Good, man. Really good. We're here ready to roll.
Hello.
Hello, Maria.
Hey.
Erica, is anybody causing trouble tonight with you?
No, they're outside.
All right. Well, what did you think of the Chateaubriand Pinot Noir? Did you enjoy that style?
I do like it, and I was just actually chatting with Pia. I can't figure out, there's a note that I can't detect what it is, but it's something unique in this flavor, and I just can't figure it out what it is.
Yeah, last night I thought one of the more precise ways of describing that is like nori, like a seaweed, Japanese dried seaweed. So smell that, think of that when like you're eating a sushi roll. And that stem kind of creates that nori umami kind of component there. Slight, almost herbal, tea-like. I mean, there's a lot of different angles that you could come in on it, but I really like that, and it's and this wine's going to age like a champ. So these vines are nice and old, and made in this style that gives it a long aging window. All right, we are going to moving up to Oregon. Is Chris? Chris, are you out there?
I'm here.
There you are, buddy.
Sorry.
Got you. I'm going to spotlight you, and you're going to talk to us about what's happening in Oregon with the bunny.
For sure. Yes.
And tell us about the name and how to pronounce it and where you guys are located and all that stuff.
All right. So I thank you for having me. I think David was supposed to do this, our sales guy, but he's actually out in Florida right now dealing with hurricanes and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm stepping in for him. But the way you say the name is Coelho, kind of like Spanish for that, which would be conejo, but Portuguese is a little bit different. So Coelho, which means rabbit in Portuguese. And our owners, Dave and Dee Linda, they are, I would say, the matriarchs of the winery. They're there every day doing book work. Dave's out in the vineyard all the time with all the our workers. And it's very much a family-run business where we all pretty much work together. It's Dave, Dee Linda, myself, their son David, and a couple of gals that work in the tasting room, and that's our team. And we try to produce some world-class wines from Oregon.
I'm showing some photos here.
It's actually on this map here.
Yeah, can you want to talk about the map, or do you want me to go forward? You let me know. I'll pace it out.
Oh, I'll just talk, and you can do the slideshow as you wish. How about that?
Cool. Well, right now I've got a map showing the Willamette Valley and the multiple appellations inside the Willamette Valley. Maybe some of them that are highlighted because you guys get fruit from different areas?
We do. So we have 3 state vineyards. Our main vineyard is the Kuala Vineyard, which I believe is the next slide. It was planted in 2004 to 777 in Pomard. It's a very unique vineyard because the Van Duzer corridor where it's situated is, I think what really makes this part of Oregon, I would say this kind of central Willamette Valley unique is because the Van Duzer Gap is literally the only east-west gap in the whole Coast Range Mountains. So we get all the cool sea breeze. Right now it's beautiful windy. It was about 90 today, and now it's cooling down to about 70, and our low tonight will be about 55, which is just absolutely perfect for Pinot Noir, warm days, cool nights. And our other properties are in the McMinnville AVA and the Eola Hills AVA, which we'll be drinking tonight. And all of our vineyards are about 6 miles away from the winery, and they can't be more 3 distinct vineyards and sites that we deal with because what we do is we make all the wines, all of our single vineyards, all the same. We do the same process for everything, so that way you can really taste the terroir that we have here in Oregon. And when we have people sit down in the taste room and taste all 3 side by side, they can't believe how different they are, all coming from the same place. And I think a really unique thing we have as well is all of our vineyard crew and everything. They work with us, in the vineyard, from pruning to suckering to pulling wires through to the winery. They help us during harvest, during bottling, everything. So I really say, we really love our family up here, and we all work together to try to produce what we do.
Cool. I see on the bottle you're at 13.5 alcohol, so kind of Oregon grained in a pretty way, really delicate, but a nice amount of spice and complexity. A really pretty Pinot Noir. How do I pronounce the name of the vineyard?
It's called Zaytun. It means olive in Arabic.
Got a little bit Arabic, Portuguese.
Yeah. Well, the owner of the vineyard, Fred Zaytun, he passed away. Well, actually, sorry. This is kind of the story of how we got into this vineyard. Is since it's about 4 miles away from the winery, and actually I'm sitting at the bottom of it. You can see it probably like right here. His sons took it over, and they work in the pharmaceuticals industry and live up in Portland, so they really didn't have time to farm it correctly. And we took over farming it in 2014, so 15 was our first vintage, and we've been using it ever since. So we have a long-term lease on it, so a 30-year lease, so we can call it our estate fruit. And it's a beautiful vineyard. It's very unique for Willamette Hills because if you think about the geology of Oregon and how it was created, the Willamette Hills are essentially like a desert in the middle the valley when the Missoula floods happened, about 10 million years ago. And most of the wines from Oregon come from the eastern side, closer to Salem, because you have this beautiful eastern exposure. And this vineyard is really located on the northwest kind of tip of the Willamette Hills. But it's kind of in this little bowl that faces, I would say, kind of southeasterly. So it's this beautiful spot where it gets all the morning sun, and about 3 o'clock the sun sets over the trees. So it cools down at night. It's kind of a tough vineyard to get ripe. I think the challenge is what makes the wine special.
And what's
it's a very fun wine to make.
What's the vineyard dog's name?
Oh, that's April. She's an Italian Mastiff.
Damn, great, cool.
Yeah, it's about 130-pound dog that, yeah, get out of the way if she starts running.
Awesome. Well, the wine's showing beautifully. Does anybody have any questions for our winemaker on the Zoom tonight? Chris, how long have you been making wine up in Oregon?
I moved to Oregon in 2013. I started in wine in 2004 when I graduated college from Fresno State. But I kind of came into wine the wrong way for most winemakers do. I studied accounting and finance, and I actually started at a winery in Hillsburg where I grew up doing budgeting for a winery that dealt a lot with restaurant groups and things like that. So I kind of got into wine through accounting and finance.
Well, that's an entry point than usual, but it's good that you found your path.
Yeah. Well, it really taught me a lot, because when I was doing that, I learned how to taste and, what kind of goes into, the winemaking in like a larger scale winery. I kind of did that for, 5-6 years and kind of decided I really liked Pinot and Chardonnay, and decided to make the move to Oregon. And I started out at Tersadum, a very small winery in Ribbon Ridge, cool. Which at the time was the main project for residents, the Jadot project up here in Oregon. So I got to work with Jacques Lardier for 3 years, and
wow.
It taught me a lot. And when this opportunity came up here at Quelo, I kind of jumped on it.
Very cool. I did not know that about you, but we had Resonance on last night, and so that's really cool. Small world, wine world.
Yeah, exactly.
And when I taste the wine, do I get just a little bit of stem inclusion here, or are you zero?
Oh no, we're 100% destemmed, and I think what you get from that is in 2017 was a very curious year, because it was gearing up to be, just absolutely perfect weather-wise, and then September we got an inch of rain mid-September, and we usually pick this vineyard end of September, 1st of October, and it rained an inch, put harvest back about a week, and then it wanted to rain again and again and again, and then we had to decide to pick it, or else it would have been very watery. So I think that might be a touch of greenness maybe we're getting in that, because just of the weather. It seems like in Oregon, odd years seem to be, the kind of atypical Oregon years where, you have that very bright freshness, almost a lighter style of Pinot versus like, say, California. And the even years tend to be that riper, bigger style of Pinot. It just seems like, from my limited time up here, but, 13, 11, 17, they're all years where we had rain in September. So it kind of slowed things down on that phenolic ripening. So September is kind of like the key month for us. Everything looks great, and then September comes and we all pray that it doesn't rain till October.
Well, I think it's very pretty wine, and there's a really nice spice feature there. You call it green or cool climate type of an accent. I thought it might have been a little stem inclusion, or that type of a leafiness and a earthiness that you evoke there. Beautiful wine, good texture, great weight, good richness, and this wine looks like it has a retail of a 45, and being able to get it direct from the winery tonight.
Yep. And this had score-wise for James Suckling, it was 93 points.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And is your tasting room open so people can come and visit?
Oh, absolutely. We're open 7 days a week. In Oregon, the restrictions have now cleared up, so you can just show up, but we do like appointments if possible.
Cool. Well, I've known about your brand for a number of years. A lot of the guys in the trade just refer to you as the Bunny. So
yeah, that's right. The Bunny wine.
Thanks for hopping on and being here on the Zoom.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you, and let's go and see some more faces and chat it up. Anybody have any questions for Chris before we say goodbye? Lisa, are you drinking with us tonight? Maybe you couldn't hear me there, Lisa. I can't.
I am drinking with you. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Oh, actually, Ian, I saw a question in the comments. Should I answer it here or like?
Sure, go for it.
So there was a question about the current heat dome we're experiencing here in Oregon, how it's going to affect the vintage. The heat here, I mean, from what the news says, it says, we're 100 degrees, but that only lasts for about a half an hour. That's like our peak temperature. But I mean, right now it was about, 95 today, and it's already cooled down to about 70. So we hit our peak temp pretty late in the day because we're, up by the 44th parallel. I mean, it's actually been about perfect for Pinot because, about 90 degrees during the day, the vines kind of shut down. And then as it cools down at night, we're in the high 60s, low 50s, and it's just been beautiful, really. We just don't want any rain in September. We need the rain, but not in September.
And no fire, right?
That either. No, last year was we dealt with that quite a lot.
I'm sure. Well,
yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
It's time for my friend John Fons, Cellars 33. We're going up to Sonoma. John, how are you, buddy?
Ian, pleasure. My good friend. How are you, sir?
So good to see you, dude. It's always great to have you on the Zoom.
Thank you. I thought I'd do a little fireside chat tonight since it's like 100 degrees everywhere except in San Francisco.
Right, where it's like winter, right?
We have June gloom here. It's kicking back in hard. So, yeah.
That's all right.
Fire, freak everybody out in the middle of summer.
Good, that's good. No, I've been watching the temperatures up there. We send out a lot of shipments and stuff. And I'm like, anywhere around San Francisco, ship it. Yeah. The coldest, what's this expression? The coldest winter I've ever had is a summer in San Francisco, right?
The last couple years, that really wasn't the case. I mean, this time last year, it was oddly beautiful. Normally you want to come in September and October. Last summer in June and July, it was gorgeous out here by the beach. But not this year. We got gloom heavy, and we just can't get out from underneath the marine layer. But that's neither here nor there.
Well, let's talk about Cellars 33 and what's going on.
Sure, thanks. Cellars 33, we're brands. I started making wine in 2008. Started selling it in 2011. We make the wine here in San Francisco. Most of our vineyards are up in Sonoma Coast AVA. These are vineyards that I got exposed to with various connections I made when I used to work up at Freeman Winery in Sebastopol. Absolutely gorgeous place. If anybody ever has a chance to go visit there, you must do so.
But obviously you didn't start, life in 2008. You came from back east from Baltimore, right?
Right. Yeah, my wife and I are both ex-lawyers. No one seems to really be clamoring for us to go back to the law, which is good, I guess.
Recovering lawyers then, huh?
Recovering lawyers. Yeah, that's a good phrase. So at the time I was, I'd done the law thing for about 18 years, had my own practice, and was looking for something new, else. Hooked up with some friends, came out to California, got my hands dirty for a few harvests, 3 exact, 17, 18, and 19. And then finally my wife had the brilliant idea, we should move out here. Right, babe? It was your idea. Exactly. Move to California and, do this, start a winery. So that's what we did. We moved to San Francisco, January 2010. And we've been making wine in the city ever since. So, we're picking the fruit from our vineyards up north. And usually I'm the one in the truck driving the fruit down in the middle of the night to get it to the winery first thing. And, our winery here in the city is just like any other winery you'll see up in Sonoma or Napa. We just happen to do it here in the city. Say hi, Katie.
Hi, Katie.
Hi.
The brand is just us. It's just me and Katie. It's just our money. It's our project. I make the wine. Katie's the boss. It's a very simple situation. Yeah.
And are you still in Dog Patch area? Is that the neighborhood that your wine?
Yeah, we were in Dog Patch on Minnesota Street for 6 years, and then the rent got just a little too high. So now we're back into Bayview. And at this point, we're in with numerous other winemakers. I think there's 5 of us who are in there full time. Between the 5 of us, we're making about 18 or maybe it's 19 or 20 brands now. And we are basically the last winery left here in the city. Everybody else is pretty much done for a lot of unfortunate reasons, mostly because of the cost of production. Just sort of ridiculous. I don't recommend it. If you want to get into making alcohol, make beer. It's a much better business model. You really have to have a passion for this, especially for Pinot Noir, right? For all the other reasons that we have already heard and we're going to hear about the Heartbreak grape.
Sure. And this ranch that we're tasting tonight, it's called Hummingbird Hill.
Yeah. Sonoma
Coast appellation. And how big is Hummingbird?
The vineyard? Yeah, it's not that large. It's about 12 acres total. So it's on pretty much the easternmost region of the Sonoma Coast. When you just say Sonoma Coast, it doesn't tell you much, right? Because the Sonoma Coast AVA is just gargantuan. But what's unique about where Hummingbird is located is it's not Bennett Valley, because it's just over this little mountain range right next to Taylor Mountain. And it's not Petaluma Gap. It's just outside of the recently created Petaluma Gap sub-AVA. So it's Sonoma Coast, but steep hillside, westerly exposed. So you'll get diurnal daily shifts there about 30, 35 degrees. So it can get real chilly in the mornings, real chilly in the evenings. And even though it'll get warm there, it doesn't spike up to like 100 like you'll see down in Santa Rosa. It'll mostly get to about 90 degrees and then cool off very quickly. Rocky, volcanic, chalky soils, cooling winds and sunshine late afternoon. I mean, it's just mind-bogglingly groovy for Pinot Noir.
And when you get it, you destem, you probably put this, are you fermenting in stainless steel uprights, punch down type processing?
Well, normally what we're doing T-bins, so small lot fermentations. In 17, we did do 100% destem fruit. That's always a decision I make on the fly as the fruit's coming in. Literally, I'll just grab the bunches and bite into the stems. And if I get any bitterness in the stems, I really won't do any or very little stem inclusion. 17 was sort of a unique time with the heat spike in early September. So when we brought the fruit in, we were bringing in, if I recall correctly, in advance of another anticipated heat rise. And so the fruit was tasting peculiarly excellent, beautiful acidity, but didn't seem like a good year for stems for this particular vineyard. So we destemmed all 3 different clones. We brought them in separately, fermented them separately, and then later made the blends. In a perfect world, I love to bring them all in at once and co-ferment. Doesn't always work that way, and 17 was a perfect example of that.
Tell us about the name Cellars 33.
Yeah, I see you just popped that up. So it's sort of Katie and my way of hearkening back to where we came from. We're from Baltimore, as I think I mentioned earlier, and 33rd Street in Baltimore is where the old Memorial Stadium was before it got ingloriously torn down. to make way for the downtown stadium, Camden Yards, in 1992. But that stadium holds a lot of memories for both Katie and myself. We were little bitty pups, and we used to go there with our families and see the Orioles and the Baltimore Colts before they left town in the middle of the night, went to some other city. I forget what city it was. Right. My mind. Anyway, it's just our way. We were trying to figure out how we're going to incorporate, our Baltimore roots with, this California winemaking venture. We just moved across country. People were like, "What are you doing?" My wife just became partner in a major downtown law firm, and she left to come out here with us to do this. People were like, "What are you doing?" So we were trying to tell people what we were doing. Our original name, I think, we were 33rd Street Cellars, right? And we were getting a lot of feedback. It sounded too much like a brewery. So ironically, we were at a brewery, Russian River Brewing Company, and we started doodling, and Katie flipped it on its head, and it became Cellars 33. So nice. That's the idea. I mean, you got to call it something, right, Ian?
The name is part of the journey.
All the oats are taken.
Here, I'm gonna play this for you.
Oh no! What, against the Orioles?
Yeah, that was today. The Dodgers won in the walk-off fashion. I'm so glad it's.
After a while, I just stopped having fun.
Uh-oh.
I would practice, and my game would actually get worse. My slice.
There we go. That's what I get for being funny. But yeah, your Giants are giving us a hard time up there, John. I don't know if you've migrated to becoming a Giants fan in San Francisco.
I like the Giants, but my heart's still, Orioles and Ravens. So,
okay.
But you find some. It's a fun place to see a game, that's for sure. I mean,
beautiful park.
My goodness.
Yes.
Enjoy that experience, then shame on you.
That's right. It's good to have fun competition. Nobody saw the Giants coming forever out of anywhere, but I'm so glad there's an all-star break because our team looks exhausted. But really nice to taste your wine again, buddy. It's tasting great as always. You've participated on numerous occasions with the Hummingbird, and I remember 14 and 16. So this is 17, and I'm really enjoying it. It's beautiful.
Thanks. Just real quick, parenthetically, when I noticed with interest when Chris was referencing the vintages, and I was just thinking the exact same thing for this particular vineyard. The 14, 16, and 18 vintages are fine. I'm pleased with the wines, and especially the 16 was well received and sold out very quickly. That's all good. But from our personal preferences, it's been the odd years. Our favorite vintage has been 13, 15, 17, and the 19 that's coming is just beautiful, expression of acidity and balance. I don't quite understand why that is. It's sort of one of those oddities in wine. I'm just relegating myself to accept it, and it's just what it is. It's odd, but yeah.
Chris, did you want to say something? You look like you're getting ready to. I got you there. I can't hear you yet, Chris. Well, really beautiful wine, great texture, really pretty balanced. A lot of nice kudos in the chat box as well, John. Anything exciting on the horizon?
Well, our seemingly never-ending journey to open up a tasting room here in San Francisco appears to be finally entering its final stages. Please knock on any wood if it's anywhere close. Our second go-around with the Port of San Francisco and the health department seems to be resolving. So finally, we're hoping to be open at Pier 70 and Dog Patch Labor Day weekend.
All right. Well,
yeah, baby. Woo!
Let me know, and we'll come up in force.
Love to see you, man. We got to get together. I miss you.
I miss you too, dude. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate you being here.
Sir.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, man. Good night, Katie.
Bye.
Bye, Brooks.
Thank you. Bye, buddy. All right, we're gonna move on back down to Santa Barbara, and we're gonna hang out with the Dorés and talk about Foxen, and we're moving into Block 8, Pianissito Vineyard. Awesome lineup tonight, like I said. How you guys doing? Hi, Dick.
Hey, we're doing great, Ian. How you doing?
Awesome.
We're glad to be here.
I'm so happy to see you both. Thank you very much. And
Well, it's great to be back.
well, it's always good to see you. And and we're so thrilled to be able to taste Block 8 with you tonight. We got the 2017. Do you think there's anything to that odd vintage, even number vintage thing that we've been talking about?
Well, I don't know. All I know is this is one hell of a one.
Yeah. For us, 2017, we were briefly out of the drought in that we had a lot of rain in the winter, which was good. And we had rain the year before, which helps the fruitfulness of the 17. So we haven't found the odd even pattern yet.
All right, Jenny. Well, you guys have had a few more vintages than
Just
these
a
other
few.
guys. When did you guys get started?
We started in 1985. Bill and I were a couple of old buddies that had talked years and years about making some wine. He was a vineyard grower, and it just came to fruition. We did a couple of hobby wines, and they actually were drinkable, and we said, maybe we ought to get professional, and we got bonded in 87 and made 4 wines that year. We made a Chenin Blanc, a Chardonnay, a very small amount of Pinot Noir, and a larger amount of Cabernet from Rancho Sisquoc, which was pretty interesting. Anyway, Block 8 was sort of an afterthought because we went in and saw the Miller brothers for our annual meeting, the owners of Pianissito Vineyard. And they mentioned to us that the block that we were currently sourcing from was being pulled up and they were going to replant it. So they said, would you like us to plant a vineyard for you? And we said, to your specs. And we said, sure. And everything at that time was on the Santa Maria Bench, which was the area right above the Sandy Edge River there. And my partner Bill said, no, we want it up the hill there. It was about 500 feet above everybody else's vineyard at that time. And so after discussing it and them telling us how expensive it would be, we still decided to go ahead with it. And in 1996, they planted it for us. It was 11 acres. Originally it was supposed to be 14, but it was so steep, they actually rolled the tractor in the top 3 acres a couple of times.
Oh.
And that made it, so anyway, it's the highest and steepest Pinot Noir vineyard in the Santa Maria Valley. From the top of it, Ian, we can see the Pacific Ocean 20 miles away. So it's really a dramatic, spectacular sight.
Very cool.
And, it's about 1,000 feet, facing southwest. And, it's just an ideal place. It gets the afternoon breezes because of its altitude. And it allows us to get the kind of hang time we really want on our Pinot Noir.
Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff.
So anyway, we bring that beautiful fruit in that actually planted at Block 8. We have 5 Pinot Noir clones. We've got Pomard, we got Dijon 113, 115. We got Mount Eden, and we have the Swiss clone, the 2A. And so this wine is a combination of those clones blended together. And, it's totally destemmed. It's about, after doing all the normal Pinot Noir, cold soak, pump overs and everything and moving it to barrel, it's about 17 months in barrel, about 30% New Francho.
Okay.
So it has become our flagship wine out of the Santa Maria Valley, and I just did a sales trip in Arizona this last week, and it was the hit of the show. So anyway, we're really happy with this wine.
You know, it's funny, the first 10 years, the fruit from this vineyard was so tannic and so almost too much. And really it started to do a turn in about 10 years. And every year since, and now it's over 20 years old, it just gets more subtle, more integrated. It's still a powerful Pinot. Of all the Pinots we make, it's usually the darkest. You know, it has a very strong backbone because of the 2A clone. But every year it just gets better.
I know Jenny mentioned, and I've mentioned the 2A clone. It's it's a clone that originated from Switzerland. So because of that, it tends to be a Pinot Noir clone that has much thicker skin. So it provides actually tannin for Pinot Noir, which Pinot Noir usually is tannin starved. So it's a great additive, and a lot of people are using it nowadays to sort of perk up the tannin in their Pinot Noir.
Did not know that. That's cool. Well,
I added this picture in this year, in this grouping, because at Pianissito, they do night picks for us on our Pinots, which of late, since we can sometimes get the hottest weather of the year in September, it's really important. They bring in the big lights. And so all of our Pinots are picked at night, so the fruit comes in still cold, which is critical.
And we have the cold nights, so it's sort of a natural refrigeration system for us. And when the grapes can come in cold like that, we have so much more latitude as to what we're going to do with them.
Yeah. Oh, and you have been asking. We do destem. Our stems in Santa Barbara County, especially in Santa Maria Valley, tend to, because our hang time is so long, the stems stay green a long time. So we found it best for us to 100% destem.
Nice.
And that picture is there. We do the hand sorting table.
Yeah, we're pretty particular. You know, we try to get everything out of the grapes that come out of our destemmer. We call it MOG. They call it in the industry materials other than grapes. And you know, it's all those little green things that were, you know, part of it that happened to have gotten through. And you don't want that. Pinot Noir is so sensitive to any influence from the outside that it makes it very fickle sometimes.
Well, this looks like caviar down here, so
yeah, exactly.
It does. It's very dark fruit, and I concluded this was a cluster from that year.
So look at the size of that. I mean, that is beautiful, small grapes, small. So you've got a really high skin to juice ratio. So there's your flavor.
Well, beautiful wine. We're getting some great comments in the chat box. And if you guys, don't know the Dorés, they have been first of all, thank you guys for being here again. And it's always wonderful to have wine royalty on our Stars events. So thank you guys for being here. But the wine is awesome.
Cheers. Yes, thank you.
Thank you both. Any questions or comments for the Dorés?
Yeah, Ian, I have a question, just a comment. It's David. We're in Camarillo here, so we're closer to you now.
Yeah.
We moved up here. So Foxen, I have to say, was the winery that introduced me to Pinot Noir and to how damn good it was. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was, did you do a Fox and Sea Smoke vineyard at one?
Oh, yes.
We did it. We did one for 10 years, and 2011 was our last.
Yeah, that was
last vintage.
Yeah, we advised on the planting of that, and our reward was to get a very small percentage every year of the crop.
And when Dick says get, we purchased it.
Oh, for a very, very dear price.
It was absolutely outstanding, and I'll never forget that wine. I believe we had a 2009.
Oh, that was a great vintage.
Yeah, it was 9, and we took it to Boa Steakhouse.
Yeah, so Billy, so our our partner Billy, who's a fabulous viticulturist and still the go-to guy in Santa Barbara County, chose the site for Sea Smoke, spent a couple of years looking, and then designed the vineyard and chose the clones.
So the 10 clones, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So but that was a very distinctive vineyard.
And it was a fun trip while we had it.
Yeah, well, it's great. Thank you for all your hard work. And it's just every year we go up to visit the shack. And
thank you.
Well, the good news is, the winery, the tasting room is open by reservation as per protocol. And we had to shut the shack down during COVID, but we're preparing to reopen the shack by appointment in about three weeks or so, we hope.
Great news. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, good news, and great to see you both. Thank you for showing such beautiful wine. And we're moving up to Sonoma's Russian River, and we're going to be hanging out with David now at Domaine Della.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, David.
Hello, brother. How are you?
I am so happy to see you.
You do realize that I'm drinking all these wines, and it's now like, what, 5 bottles or 5 glasses?
Right. That's right.
You realize that?
Well, I think we try to get
the last.
That's right.
Some great producers here. I'm honored to be here.
Well, thank you, David. We are honored to have you, and I'm excited because I know that you have great press and a great following at Domaine Della, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of people that are on this Zoom tonight will be tasting your wine probably for the first time, and I always love being that person to kind of introduce some new ideas, new brands, and you've been around now for quite a few years, but this wine is being gobbled up, and I'll let David tell the story because you do it much better, but it's a real treat to have you here, so thank you.
Thanks, Ian. That's so nice. I can't beat, what's already come before me. But we're drinking this is the Earl Stevens 2019 vintage. This is our 7th vintage.
We're actually drinking 18.
Right, we're drinking 18. So 18, our first vintage was 12. We made our wines at Costa Brown when I was the CEO of Costa Brown from 11 to 15. And I left private equity to do this, joined Costa Brown as our CEO, took Costa Brown, my team took Costa Brown to 10 to 30,000 cases. But the carve out of my contract, which cost me a lot of money with my partners, was to make Domaine Della at the winery. So Cirque was started that weekend, and actually it was over lunch in Sebastopol.
John Ash?
No, in Sebastopol. It's going to come to me in a minute. But anyway, we started both those wines at that time, and that was in 2011. And then now we're like 7 vintages later. We sold Costa Brown in 15 for a very attractive price. We all got to follow our own passions. My passion it's not subtle. It's Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and I partner with the best growers. All my growers are former Costa Brown growers, and I'm so honored to have met them and worked with them the way I do. 3 of those vineyards are now ours. Ritchie Vineyard I share with Costa Brown. I brought Ritchie Vineyard into Costa Brown because the Chardonnay needed a little work, and I am more of an old world Chardonnay guy where it's Montrachet, Chablis. I want the fruit to take the lead, not the oak. And then when it comes to Pinot Noir, we're not going to really make Burgundy in the Russian River Valley. The fruit is just too ripe and too big and beautiful, and it would be a crime to pull her back.
I don't want to advance through the slides too quickly, but that's your wife and your son?
Yes.
All right. And obviously beautiful dog.
That's Storm, Hailstorm. So my name at Costa Brown was Hailstorm. And
did you earn that name?
I did, absolutely. You go from 10 to 30,000 cases in 4 years doesn't just happen. It's a term of endearment. But that's my son Zach. He's the assistant winemaker, He's at UC Santa Barbara, wants to come back to work at the winery. I said straight up, no. He's far too talented. He needs to, figure out what he wants to do. And then if he comes back, it's all good. But he will continue to be the assistant winemaker. This character, this is Earl Stevens. He is a freaking rock star.
He looks like an Earl Stevens.
There's nobody that knows the vineyard, the fruit, the clones, the slope, the vintage, the sun. I mean, this guy walks it every day. It's just amazing human being. And I'm a very high maintenance producer. So
I can't believe you just said that.
I can't imagine that, but I do a lot of green drops, and I want. Okay, that's my German Shepherd. I apologize.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so anyway, it was the vineyard. He wants to go to the vineyard. I get that. But this is right now where we are. We're a little farther along. This picture was a couple weeks ago. This particular vineyard is 4 different clones, and it is impeccably farmed. And it's like the 18th, 19th, 20th. It's actually the 22nd vintage of these 4 clones. And I can't obsess enough. I mean, when I was CEO of Costa Brown, I dealt with this fruit every year, and he never had a single vineyard expression of his vineyard. And I know no one more obsessed with the vineyard than this guy. And the clones, yeah, perfect clones, 777, 667, Pomard 4, and 28, 828. And God, it's just the perfect expression. And if you pick right, and I'm always out there every day with the German Shepherd, he's got a lot of energy right now because he hasn't been out in a while, but it's coming. We're only 5 weeks away from harvest. But I'm telling you, this is the best of the best fruit. And every year we take a bigger percentage of this vineyard. That's Earl and his lovely wife, Tracy. And we just love hanging with these guys. And he's not going to give up on his quest, and I'm not going to give up on mine. And that's to make the perfect Pinot Noir. So this particular 18 vintage is sold out. We save 10% for to grow the winery, because we all have to grow. I spend most of my time on crafting wine, more wine time doing that. We do a lot of wine dinners with chefs, but we're not open to the public. I don't see that happening anytime soon, but anybody that's on our list, they're most welcome. But we do, we'll give you the full experience, but we just don't have enough hours in a day. So we're resource constrained. It's myself, it's Mary, it's my son Zach, who's now in school, my other son Andrew, who's the enologist. We have a couple of people we just hired. We continue to grow and taking on some new vineyards in the future. We have 10 wines, two Chardonnays, 8 Pinot Noirs. This one is the perfect expression of Earl Stevens. She's a little young. She needs, I think she needs just a year, and she's drop dead gorgeous now, but in a year, yeah, you're gonna, so yeah.
It's always a great, your wines are always so deep and rich and textured and dense, and this is going to be amazing. And 18 is a pretty important vintage in Sonoma. Some of the 18s are just starting to come out, and everything that I'm tasting is powerful. I make some Zinfandel in Sonoma, and in 2018, the wine's just punishingly powerful. So we're very fortunate to have had another year to postpone releasing the 18. And I'm sure that, with a nice couple years in the cellar, this one's just going to be even more glorious.
I promise you.
Well, if you want to be involved in David's project, we encourage you to jump on board. He's got a little bit of wine available for us. Is that right, David? If we go to the website tonight, can they buy some 18?
They can, but they just have to email me. So,
okay.
Storm, I'm talking to my dog right now, but going a little crazy. But okay, so here's the gig. So we release our wines 3 times a year. We're honored that we have no wine, and it's a great place to be. We sell out at 10%. 10%, we keep the 10% so that we can grow the list. and this is how we grow the list. We just got back from a winemaker dinner in Cabo. Now we're going to Florida. It's just about finding people that obsess over the same things that you do. And my obsession will never stop, but I can't get distracted from crafting even a better vintage all the time. So I'm always doing competitive tastings. These are the Appellation wines. These are $65. Our single vineyards are $95. And then we have the Four Moors, which is a 4-barrel blend, which is $150. And I'm just saying, anybody that's here tonight, just because I love your work, Ian, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I'm telling you straight up. So I'm here to support you and what you're up to. My obsession will not relent, and I'm looking forward to actually traveling again. We just got back from a trip. We're going on another, and we're really stoked actually traveling and sharing. We're obsessed with good food. We just pulled lettuce from the garden, some mint, and some rosemary for the steak. And I'm putting steaks on here as soon as we're done here tonight. And we're going to drink some Della. But anybody that wants to be a part of the story, we would be honored to have you. Please just send us an email, and you're straight away, just by referencing this experience tonight, you're on, and you can buy from that 10% that we save. And yeah, we'd be honored to have you.
Is there a secret password to keep the dog happy? Like, do you have one of those?
No, he's really good right now. He's like so beautiful, and he's like checking out the back 40. He's doing a great job because it's windows over here, and everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's a beautiful dog. It certainly would keep strangers away. But, we're so happy to be able to taste your wine again. Thank you very much for being here, and gorgeous stuff. And if you don't catch that email address and you want to go up to Sonoma, everyone just contact me, and I'll put you right in touch with David. He's always been super supportive of us, and we last saw you at the Montage with our last live Stars of Pinot, and we hope to bring that back so we can see you again in person.
Thank you so much, Ian. Appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right. I hope everyone's doing well. We're moving along pretty quickly, and we thank everybody. Josh, sorry that you are in the 6th hole, but there's good reason.
Last but not least, come on, we're good.
Yeah, that's right. There's good reason. Come on, you're about to taste this beast, this beautiful beast.
Absolutely.
Addicts.
Have you been drinking all these wines tonight?
I left my dog at home. I'm still here at the winery here in Yonkers.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I can't encourage you guys enough now to get this in the glass and get ready for Josh's presentation. Josh owns Elise Winery, and they have crafted a couple small brands around their relationship with winemaker Russell Bevan, right?
Yes. So Russell and I started working together about 15 years ago, and then I was lucky enough to buy the Elise Winery when Ray Corson wanted to retire back in 2018. So it kind of just brought all of this together. So this is what kind of a legacy brand we brought to, Yountville. So we kind of embarked on making Chardonnay back in 2013 with Gap's Crown, and then moved up the hill to the Findler Vineyard. And so we make about 280 cases of this a year. Again, it's going to be what we always describe as a Cabernet drinker's Pinot Noir. So 100% new French oak, 100% distilled, also 100% foot stomped. So we actually foot stomp all of our grapes before we put these into little 2-ton fermenters. And then, Russell being Russell, this is full throttle stuff. And there's Mr. Bevan himself. And so we make a Ritchie Chard, a Ruid Chard, a 5-barrel kind of ultra cuvee. And then we added Silver Eagle Pinot as a vineyard designate last year. So we've really kind of grown our Pinot Noir portfolio in the last couple of years. We launched as a Cabernet brand back in 2009, but we just have a love affair with Chard and Pinot. So this is kind of where we've explored it, and it's been a lot of fun. So it's again a pretty bold, aggressive style of Pinot to call it. So out of the 6 wines we've had tonight, and if everyone's had all 6 wines, everyone's got a big smile on their face. So this is a great one in the night. And I have to go pizza at home. I'm going to walk 100 yards away and go to bed early. So I think it's been a wonderful night of Pinot Noir and so many different expressions. And so it's kind of fun to see, the folks from Foxen. And I was actually, one of my first trips to California was to watch that vineyard be planted. And we make, Gaps Crown Pinot, and we kind of throw lots of fun vineyards around just to see, again, whatever Russell, anyone's ever met Russell Bevan, if he gets excited, I also get excited. So that's kind of the fun part. And so it's been a lot of fun to produce multiple Pinots. We're just presenting one tonight, which is kind of a culmination of the Fendler Vineyard. And again, much like we were talking earlier with clonal selection with others here. So this is Calera 828 and 151. And, these are kind of fun parts of, as I always say, giving Russell more colors to paint with. So it's kind of fun to sit down with a great blending session with Russell and kind of figure out, what do we have? Do we have 1 wine, 3 wines, multiple wines? Who knows? So I've always had a great approach that marketing never dictates winemaking. So some years we have 1 Pinot, some years we have 4. And that's kind of, again, letting Russell be Russell and kind of supporting that, since we've been friends when he was still in Minneapolis. It was great before he ever made wine. So it's been a fun journey since I've been in the wine business since 2002 with other brands and, photos to share. So we do berry by berry sorting on 3 levels, then an optical sorter, and then we foot stomp all the Pinot. And it's just, why not? If you're only going to make 200 or so cases, why not do the fun stuff? And so we actually have parts of our team or friends that want to come and what we call guest stop. So we force feed them champagne at 6 in the morning. So we do pick at night, as referenced before. And once your feet go numb, it's all good. So that's life, and why not? And again, our maximum Pinot lot's going to be about 300 cases. So we look for exactly what everyone's been talking about: thick berries, small clusters, cold sites that have some stress, and it's been. Not my first, going back to 2002. I made Oakville Cab for a long time until Russell kind of convinced me that we needed to make Pinot. And it was a, bring me to the dark side kind of conversation. It's been a lot of fun since 2013 to make some Pinot.
Well, I remember the first time I tasted this wine, I was just taken back by the depth and the richness and this interpretation. It's not everybody that can take Pinot to this place, and so it's an amazing effort, and stylistically shows the bandwidth that it can exist inside of Pinot Noir, and I love it. I think it's an awesome wine to put in people's glass and blow some minds.
Like I said, I really, appreciate the 6 wines you put together tonight. I mean, they serve kind of the gamut of Pinot Noir, and
right.
It's amazing to see what we can all do and call it Pinot. And we're equal opportunity drinkers here at the winery, and we drink and explore all types of Pinot, and it's fun to figure out. Now we're working with 8 different Pinot vineyards between Santa Barbara County and Sonoma County. And, hopefully we can do this again next year and kind of figure out a great theme for all of them.
Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. If anybody has any questions for Josh, is there a tasting room for this particular brand, or do you do them at Elise, or is it for members only? What do you do?
So we're by appointment here at Elise in Yountville, but we pour all of our wines here. So it's been kind of a fun thing. Again, being in the wine business for 22 years, we have 6 different brands and a cider company. We do kind of a lot of really small, fun things here. But when you come, we say it's a choose your own adventure. So, but because we are on a kind of residential road, we are by appointment. But anyone that wants to come, reach out, and we can do whatever you guys like.
Awesome. I'll definitely be sending some folks as people are starting to travel. And I really appreciate you being here, Josh. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks so much for having us.
Awesome. What did you think of that, Lauren? I'm thinking you like this wine from Addicts brand. Can you hear me, Lauren?
Yeah, sorry about that. I could hear you, but I was not unmuted there. So, no, it's great. I'm really exploring the oak, and that seems to be a trend here for the last 2-3 wines. I've had 20, 55, and 100% oak. Right. So that's new to me. I don't typically drink Pinot with oak.
Well, you might not.
I'm gonna give a quick comment. So if you
go for it.
So again, the oak is oak, but, and I think others can chime in from the winery side. We buy a lot of 5-year air dried oak, which costs us 20% more, but it's less oaky on the palate.
Right.
And so that's kind of where there's a weird thing that happens with oak. And so not all oak is created equal. So therefore, we can push certain vineyards, and we're not formulaic. And I think all the winemakers or owners that are on this call, we treat every lot differently. Just this one happens to be 100% new oak. We kind of treat every lot as it should be. And we get to work with some amazing vineyards. And, again, the Fox and Chenin Blancs, one of the first wines I had when I was 17 that said, I think I want to drink wine for a living. So, there's a good, I didn't want to say that out loud earlier, but now that we're all, 6 wines in, absolutely. So I also see your Sea Island shirt. I grew up in Hilton Head, so I know where you got that golf shirt. So I won't name the restaurant for keep the innocent, but those are great wines that I grew up in Hilton Head that kind of made me want to maybe not flake out on law school and come out to California. So these are great people to drink with, and I really appreciate Ian you bringing us all together and kind of bringing back some fun memories from. Wow, I feel old now. Can I call them the 80s?
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah, that, and I'll just kind of re-exclamate that point that you made about the wood. 5-year dry aged, and those barrels are tough to get allocated, and when you buy those barrels, it's a pretty serious commitment. So you're only going to put really good wine in there, but that grain gets super tight and it slows everything down, and it's an investment in the quality, but it also slows everything down in a big way. And it's putting a different impression on the wine, which is what Russell Bevan is pretty famous for doing.
We call it the Bevan fairy dust. So whenever he sprinkles on stuff, I don't know what it is, but it works.
Yeah, and you get some massive scores and massive attention and make some massive statements. So I'm really happy that we were able to taste this wine in this context. It's awesome to be able to take this journey and go all over the place. And so I want to thank you guys for being here, and to the audience that's watching, thank you for participating. Right now, the wines, the bulletin's about to go out. If it hasn't already, check your email. It should probably be there. And once this Zoom is over, the price adjustment will be done in about 3 minutes. So go in and support any of these wineries. The prices are special for this Zoom for 24 hours. Last night's prices are being adjusted at the same time, back up to their suggested retail. So if you want to grab anything from last night or tonight, do so now. And for the next 24 hours, tonight's prices will be super special. So thank you guys for being with us, and hope everybody had a good time. We have about 2 weeks before we get back together again for what we call nights 3 and 4. If you haven't already joined those evenings you're welcome to do so still. And there's some special opportunities coming to you to do so. So make sure you watch your emails. And we want to thank you all for supporting Stars of Pinot and everything else we do. We have Stars of South Africa wine next month, and 6 awesome producers, the best 6 wineries in South Africa are going to be joining us. Really, really cool lineup. And you'll learn a ton about what's happening in South Africa. We'll have those winemakers zooming in with us, and also the importer live with us as well. And we're going to continue the online Zoom tastings until the end of the year. We're also starting to release some live tasting events. We've got a champagne event coming up that we're going to do live in Santa Monica, and some other classes and experiences that we're going to bring on. But we're going to do it slowly and watch everything that's happening. And then once all this craziness is over, we'll make the big investment and put a flag in the ground and put a Stars event live for everybody. But until then, be careful, be safe, and thank you for joining us tonight. And give me 3 minutes and I'll have those prices. Bye, guys. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao.
Thanks all the producers. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.